Chairman, Honorable Chief Guest, distinguished guests, parents, and in particular the students who are graduating today. This must be a very happy day for you, happy occasion. So let me just share with you some thoughts to encourage you and to give you some tips from what I have learned in my own life, my own professional journey. First of all, I'd like to thank the chairman and the board of Royal Academy for inviting me and honoring me in this manner. It's a pleasure to be here. There is an English saying, part of a poem, that says, a little knowledge is a dangerous thing. Drink deep or taste not the Pierian spring. In other words, partial knowledge is not a good thing, which means now that you have graduated with a diploma, I would urge you and encourage you not to stop at this point, but to continue and acquire more knowledge, more qualifications, but that's what's going to make an impact in your life and in the society in which you are living. I'd also like to share with you some points, and some of those have been echoed by the earlier speakers as well. I got 4 points to discuss today. The first one is that please take every opportunity that you get to grow. Life is about receiving opportunities and making use of them. I'm always reminded of a little boy. I grew up in the north in Jaffna, a little boy whose mother used to go around from house to house pounding flour. In those days, they didn't have very many mills like today, and you can't just buy rice flour or wheat flour just like that from the marketplace. So she used to go from house to house pounding flour. And she used to take a grandson with her. And they were so poor that he couldn't afford a shirt. He used to be bare-bodied, just a pair of shorts and no slippers either. And you could always count the ribs on the bones on his body because they were so poor. So my grandmother took pity on him, and she paid for his food and for his education. He came second in the island in bioscience, went to medical college in Sri Lanka. He got a scholarship to go to the UK, United Kingdom, and today he is a fellow of the Royal College of Physicians from a very poor and vulnerable family. It was about creating opportunities. And when that opportunity was created, he made full use of it, maximum use of it. So institutions like the Royal Academy for Professional Studies is about they are creating opportunities for you. And you have to grasp those opportunities and make maximum use of them. See, your parents can only help you to a certain extent. Your teachers and lecturers can help you to yet another extent. But ultimately, it's up to you to grasp those opportunities and to grow. Make use of every opportunity to grow, because every little opportunity will help you. There was a famous Irish writer called Oscar Wilde. He said, opportunity knocks once, but temptation tries to break the door down. In other words, opportunity will knock on your door, and if you are sleeping, or if you miss it, you may not get another opportunity. So when somebody gives you an opportunity to grow, to learn, to develop your skills, do that. And in the 21st century, your physical strength won't take you very far. You do need physical strength, but it won't take you very far. What is really going to take you far is the knowledge that you acquire, the skills that you have. I'd like to, with all humility, share some of my own experiences. When I got out of school, when we were young, or when I was young, remember I was young once, we had a few opportunities. Either you become a doctor, or you become a lawyer, you become an engineer, or that's it, or become a priest, if everything fails. That's just a joke. Now, in our case, opportunities were limited. Now, in today's world, there are so many professions and opportunities, and with the advancement of technology, all of these things are possible. So I decided that I will not be having just a single qualification. So I went and did my law Then I went and did my accounting and finance. And eventually, I also went and did a doctorate in theology. I'm a Christian, so I did a doctorate in Christian theology. I know these are three non-related areas, but in some ways they are connected to each other. So the wider you have in terms of skills and opportunities, greater your success rate is going to be. So the first one is make every opportunity to grow. Second one has already been echoed by the earlier speakers. There is no route to success other than through hard work. All of us have a certain amount of intelligence. I mean, the difference between intelligence between people is very little. The ones who succeed are the ones who are able to put in a lot of hard work. When everybody else is sleeping, if you are burning the midnight oil, you are studying, you are working hard and working smart, then you are going to succeed. And if you ask me what's the difference between a very successful person and a failure, it's simply hard work. Because I believe all of us get opportunities, as I said earlier, to grow. But hard work is the one that's going to make a difference. You know, your parents can't do that hard work for you. Your lecturers can't do it. You yourself will have to put in that hard work. Otherwise, you're not going to succeed. And hard work also means that you need to persevere. Persevere means don't give up. Marathon runners will tell you, marathon is about 26 miles and 352 yards, if I'm right. Marathon runners will tell you that there is something called a 9th mile barrier. However much you train for a marathon, when you reach around the 9th mile out of these 26 miles, your body, mind, soul, spirit, everything will tell you, stop, this is enough. You're tired. Many people drop off from the race around the 9th mile. But the people who push themselves beyond that 9th mile are the ones who are going to succeed. If you have watched the Olympics and World Athletic Championships and so on, you notice that the person who wins, who has covered more than 26 miles, is then taking the flag of his country, and then he is still running around the stadium after running for 26 miles. Because once you go beyond those barriers, your legs will keep going automatically. So once in our lives too, there are barriers, there are 9th mile barriers. And if you are able to push beyond that barrier could be finance, that barrier could be family situations, the barrier could be any other limitation that you have. If you push beyond that, you will succeed. So don't give up. Ivan Lendl, many of you younger people may not know him, but he belonged to my generation. I feel old now. Ivan Lendl was the world number 1 in tennis for a few years. He was from the country of Czech Republic, or those days Czechoslovakia. And I was reading his autobiography. He writes about his own life. He says that he trained every day, 6 days of the week. He took Sundays off. From Monday to Saturday, he trained from 7 in the morning to 7 in the evening. Of course, taking breaks for eating and drinking and all of that. But he trained for 12 hours a day. That's what made him the world number 1. Quite often we like to see people with certificates or trophies or becoming world champions, and everyone says, oh, that's wonderful. But behind that success lies hard work. So work hard. Keep continuing to work hard. And when do you stop working hard? When you die. Until your spirit is taken away from your body, you continue to work hard. The third point that I have here is that never give up in the midst of adversity. None of us go through life without problems. That day I sat down and thought about the number of major problems or crisis situations that I faced in my life. It came up to 23. So 23 crisis situations. And I've realized that through every crisis situation, you learn, you grow. There's a lovely little incident that comes from the Bible, the Christian scriptures, and I learned a very important principle from that. There were 3 men called Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. They were asked to worship an idol, an emperor's statue. The emperor was Nebuchadnezzar, a great Babylonian leader. They refused. So they were thrown into a fiery furnace to be burnt alive. The Bible says that they were tied with a rope and thrown into the fiery furnace. But God saved them. And they came out of the fiery furnace. And you know what? The Bible clearly says that the only thing that got burnt in the fire was the rope, nothing else. I mean, normally if you catch fire, the first thing to burn is your hair. Even one hair was not singed. Their clothes were intact. There were not even smell of the smoke. But the only thing that got burnt was the rope. So I've also learned through experience that when you go through hard times, the things that get destroyed are the things that are holding you back from achieving your truest potential. Your brains won't get damaged, your will and your strength will not get damaged. It's the bad habits and the crazy things that are not necessary in life, those will get destroyed when you go through a hard situation. So remember, never waste a difficult situation. If you are going through difficulties, if you are going through problems, don't waste that. I have now worked for 40 years. That's a long time. Feel like retiring now. I've worked for 40 years. I've had good bosses and bad bosses. I've learned a lot from my good bosses. But I'll tell you something. I've learned more from my bad bosses, not to become like them. So don't waste a crisis. Don't waste a difficult situation. Now I come to the last point. The chairman is looking at me. The last point is, sorry, I've got two more, apologies. Build relationships. People are important. Life is all about people. If you take any religious or faith system, whether it's Buddhism, Hinduism, Islam, Christianity, it's all about relationships. Relationship with God and relationship with one another. So build relationships. Everywhere you go, make friends. Today I've made a lot of friends, and they're all seated right in front there. And I've already talked to one person there about a partnership between my organization and what he is trying to do. So relationships matter, and that's where success comes. You must know as many people as possible. You must have as many friends as possible and as few enemies as possible. Sometimes you can't avoid it. Some people hate you for no reason. But the most important thing is try and build relationships, get to know people. People should get to know you. And that's how you're going to be successful. And the last and the final one, as I promised, is this. Give back. Always give back to everyone. Start with your parents. One of the things I must commend you, I've been for many graduation ceremonies and convocations. You did something today that really touched my heart. You allowed the parents or family members to come up there. Because behind your success are your parents, your brothers, sisters, your siblings. And that really touched my heart. So I'm going to recommend it to others as well. Okay, well done. Okay. So when you are successful or when you grow older, remember your parents will be much older than you. Give back to them. Look after them. You should treasure them. Respect your teachers. Give back to them. Give back to your schools. Give back to your society. Give back to your nation. Give back to this world. I want to apologize on behalf of my parents' generation and my generation. Over the last 70-odd years of independence, we have brought in war and bloodshed and corruption and all of those things. But you, as the next generation, you can make the change. You can create a better world. You can create a better Sri Lanka. So I hope these thoughts you'll keep them in your hearts and minds, and you will practice them. And thank you once again for this great opportunity. God bless each and every one of you. Thank you.